call this meeting to order. Is this our first regular?
Yep.
Of the new year. Happy New Year, everyone. Hope this one is fruitful, productive,
I hope.
as busy as you want it to be. So yeah, call to order, and just, this is our meeting for Tuesday, January 27th, 7 p.m. for people who are in the gallery and as well people that are online. Be aware that our meetings are recorded for public viewing and placed on publicly available website. I could get approval,
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
and any,
Admissions?
right, admissions or deletions, that's a horrible way to put it. Anything new to add? Hearing none, all in favor.
Aye.
Adoption of minutes.
Motion to adopt the minutes of December 9th, 2025, regular meeting of council.
Errors or omissions or? No, seeing none, I didn't see any, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried. We've got some business arising from those minutes. If there was anything else from council? No, we'll go right on to the ABICC final call. So there is a report in front of you regarding that. Tells you their deadlines. It tells you where we are at, and there's been some changes actually to UBCM. If I could get the CEO to speak about that, that may be good for us to know.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so there's been new rules put out by UBCM based on the amount of resolutions that they get every year. They've typically at UBCM, they're not able to get through all of the resolutions. So some of them are decided by the UBCM board sort of behind closed doors, whether they get moved forward or not. And the rest of the province doesn't get to vote on it. It's just because there are too many. So they've created a new rule that if it has been discussed and on the floor at a previous UBCM, they will not consider them moving forward. And this is to reduce the amount of resolutions that come forward at the UBCM conference.
So then my question further to that is what happens to the resolutions that haven't been resolved yet?
That's a very good question for the UBCM executive.
Right, so maybe we could write a letter and ask them what that means. And then, so then does that affect our ABICC resolutions that we can't introduce these because they won't be moved on to UBCM?
That is the premise of it. So I do believe it's on page 17.
Yeah, perfect.
So basically, they won't deal with resolutions that have been on the floor and spoken about. How about resolutions like ours that didn't make it to the floor?
And I think
You
that
think we could
I think it's worth taking forward in this first year until those rules are more clear.
Good, thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Beck. So what does that mean for the resolutions that we had proposed to make this year then?
Up to council. So I've provided a couple of draft resolutions. And if you want to continue to forward those, yeah, they do.
So I'm wondering with council, should we forward them anyways with a letter asking about the process and how that's going to look like? You know, we're requesting these resolutions be looked at by our local area association, and then further on to that to forward them on to, because these are both have been dealt with before. They've both been, there's been like resolutions submitted before, right?
Yes.
So, right, so.
Not these exact ones, but like one.
Exactly. And so what are they gonna do? Because I know we, you know, under the in the UBCM book, there is, you know, we've considered resolution B11 2002, B11 2005, B11, you know, all of those. So just for clarity on the process, do we want to include a letter or a subsequent letter with UBCM or ABICC asking about those rules? What do we get, Councilor Deck?
I think that's a hell of a good idea.
Just
Yeah.
ask for clarity.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And less work for our friend over there too.
Okay. So I think what, CAO needs is there's two versions of that, resolution in front of us. If we wanted to go with this, if we wanted to, massage or wordsmith a little bit. What are we thinking? Well, there's two, like, there's two. Do we want to do anything further with either of them?
Apology, there's a title change needs to happen on page 23.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So this is actually, this is a Forest Service Road Major Maintenance Projects.
Correct.
Okay, so let's change the name of that then to, FSR. Road Major Maintenance Projects. For lack of, you can feel free to wordsmith that if that's okay with council, the title. Okay, but for now, we'll call it the FSR Major Maintenance Projects. I've read through them both and I don't see any, thing that I would like to see added to them or taken out. I think they're both good, solid resolutions.
Yeah, they can stand alone, for sure.
Okay, so then, you require a motion to put both of these forward to ABICC?
Yes.
And then a subsequent, do you want it separate as a motion to write a letter to ABICC and UBCM to, ask for clarity?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So if anybody wants to make either of those motions,
I prefer you then. Because you know what you're talking about.
I move that the, resolutions named legislative changes consultation process on page 22 of the regular agenda and FSR major maintenance projects on page 23 of our regular agenda are submitted to UBCM for resolution.
Second.
ABICC.
Sorry, ABICC. Thank you for that correction, CAO. Any other further questions or comments? All in favor? There's an opposed, so that's carried. Okay, and thank you for those, pending getting our thoughts down on paper. Appreciate that, CAO. Next is a letter to ABICC and UBCM requesting clarity on the questions that have been posed today by council. Is that clear? Will you have to look back? Look back on the recording maybe?
No, I think I've got it here. It's staff draft a letter to ABICC and UBCM on previous submissions.
Yeah.
That have not been addressed.
Yes. And clarity on the changes at UBCM's resolution process.
Perfect.
Yeah, is there a second for that?
Second.
It was Councillor Lewis that seconded. I'll call, is there any other comments, questions, anything to add to it that you want any other clarity on?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So that's carried unanimously. Okay. So we are on to our correspondence. We have a letter dated January 10th, 2026 from resident Douglas Ante requesting a meeting with BC Hydro to discuss power outages. Just a little background. So I did get the phone call and there was a request put to me and I said the proper way to deal with this, of course, is always to put a letter through so that it can come to the full council. I know that we met with, I also informed the resident that we met with BC Hydro UBCM. And have had discussions there, that we've had all sorts of conversations with Hydro about how they can better mitigate their issues with their business and with our relay of power. I do have an upcoming meeting, a meeting coming up with the MLA Kindy about this subject. And so I'm wondering if we want to, inform the resident that kind of what's going on behind the scenes, and I can come back and report out from that meeting, because possibly there may be a different way to go about this. There may be suggestions from our MLA. I'm just not sure.
Well, if at least you can report back to the citizens that you're giving hydro a push and maybe something good will come from it.
Mhm.
Personally, I think all they're gonna do is keep coming in and fixing it. But that doesn't matter. What these people want to hear is, we're trying to do something.
And I'm hesitant before talking to the MLA, and I know that the CAO is in really, good communication and always in communication with the rep that we speak to at BC Hydro. We have a really good relationship. Knowing that we're advocating for better services, which we all know is a thing. And of course, this would be a kind of, we'd have to see what KCFN is doing, which they have a different process completely because they have their own private power company. Bringing in New Chatlet, and then some high-ranking official from BC Hydro. I don't know that it would get it would get attention, but I don't know it would get the required outcome, or. So that's why I'm just, I'm wondering if I can come back first and report back to you guys. Maybe put a blurb in the Village Voice about what happened with the MLA and my conversations with the MLA and possible suggestions going forward, or at least what we're doing on council's part. So that people are aware.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then could I ask the CAO to get back to the letter writer and let him know that's, kind of where we're at this point. If there is an opportunity for a meeting, we'll let him know. I think any kind of public meeting, we'll let the public know. Yeah?
Perfect.
Okay, because I do understand that people really want to be involved. I get that. I 100% do, but I'm just trying to, until I get that meeting with her, I'm just kind of hesitant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I will report back then.
And
Is
if I
that-
may,
Sure.
be cautious who you talk to regarding electricity and blackouts and whatever, because the CAO told me just to reverse feed from my generator into my house. Well, that didn't work that good.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
No.
What was,
If you don't have things grounded the right way,
Uh.
you're in for a surprise, right?
okay,
And the wiring in my house, it probably was passed, but it's definitely not by code, if the way it should be. So I gave it a shot, CAO,
You should.
and it did work, except for one of the plugs turned out to be hot. And so we'll just run extension cords from now on.
okay. That seems more like a personal issue, so I'll leave that at that. Do you want a resolution about me reporting back after my meeting with Emily?
I don't think that's necessary.
It's just stuff, it's just mayoral direction.
Yes.
Okay, and then if you don't need a resolution to get back to to write a letter to the responders. Okay,
No, I typically do that anyway.
awesome, thank you. Okay, so that's where we're going with that. We are moving on to a letter dated November 28th from Premier Evie. Questions or comments?
Same old. Same old.
Yeah.
With lots of words, nothing said.
Same old, and thank you for the baffle gab, but we'll see you next year.
Okay. it is kind of a stop letter. I am glad that he CC'd emergency management, forest, jobs, transportation, land, water, that at least it's kind of a put on notice that multi-ministerial meetings are actually expected of you. So that was positive in my mind anyways. I don't know what we want to do with any follow-up. If there's anything that to do with follow-up, I'm sure the CAO will come to us with projects that in regard to the wildfire area. CAO.
If I could make a suggestion, when we met with the Minister of State, Brittany Henderson, she did note how she was proud of visiting almost all of the municipalities in BC. So it may be worth an invitation, as I don't believe she's been out to Zeballos.
That would be a great idea. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so do you need a resolution for that?
Yes.
Resolution to invite Brittany Anderson, who is the Minister of State for Local Governments and Rural Communities, to visit.
To the smallest municipality in BC.
Yeah. Second that.
Perfect, thank you. And further to that, that may get some, when you look at the lay of the land of somewhere, then maybe there's an opportunity for her to be talking to the other people that this subject concerns, transportation, forest lands, and be fighting for some of the solutions we've come up with that have just been shuffled around and said, not my problem, not my problem, not my problem. Right, so that's what's been happening, right? And so, okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Guided tour to the wildfire 2018 that we're still mitigating.
Well, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right?
Looking in person.
If she comes here in person. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that was second and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that was passed unanimously. Okay, emergency preparedness fund. This is a regional grant opportunity for an EOC. So. There's a recommendation. Yes,
I just had a couple of questions on
please.
top page 30. It's the wording that sort of got me. Technicians to continue the work on creating redundant communication systems. So they're just trying to does that mean they're trying to get rid of old communication systems that aren't any good?
Or diversify? That's a great question. Through to the CAO.
Thank you, Mayor. It's to diversify. So it's,
Okay.
I think in the last 2 or 3 years, the Strathcona Regional District has been promoting voice over internet protocol radio, which allows communications to much greater distances than we were previously able to do with just VHF.
Which is especially helpful in places like this where we know for a fact through experience that ambulance gets out of touch, fire gets out of touch, all that, if there's no communications, then it's chaos. Second one,
bottom of the page, estimated 5 hours of staff time per person in. Now, did they do that in 2025 or is that supposed to be coming up in 2026?
for the CAO.
Thank you. We did some training in 2025, but there should be more training as this progresses in 2026.
And that's something that you can allow for with your staff to do so in an afternoon or something like that while the office is closed, or navigate that as you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Any questions from anybody else? There's recommendations on page 21.
Recommend that as part of the Village of Zeballos ongoing work in relation to emergency management, that an application for financial assistance under the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund 2026 Emergency Operations Center grant be authorized for submission to the UBCM in collaboration with the Strathcona Regional District, and that the Strathcona Regional District be authorized to receive and manage the grant funding on behalf of the village of Zeballos if the application is successful.
Want the second round?
Second, sorry.
Um. I'll leave that comment under. Uh, Sorry, I'm just making a little note here. All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is carried. That grant carries through until page 40. Six, thank you. There it is. Thank you for including that information. It may seem like, redundant as we go through these grants, but it's also good to look through the requirements because then it piques our interest of things that so thank you for including that information. And especially for the public, because it lets people know what kind of things you can apply for, so. There is a request for a decision on the Growing Communities Canopies Grant. Was there any questions or comments on this one?
So, straightforward.
I wonder if there's been any communication on behalf of us through the SRD to Hadasat about if this would help their process.
None that I've had.
Okay. And I wonder if that's something that we want to do. Before we pass this, I just. Yeah. I know that Mr. Cooper, always can be available, but that would be a question that I would pose to him. Does the grant that he had is that, and this part, do they work together seamlessly? Is that, how needed is it? They've already received a grant, right? It's just my question.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do they work together? So if you could just get back to us and then maybe let us know through via email is fine.
I guess we
Okay,
could, but I think it would be kind of redundant. They're already on the road, eh?
Mhm.
You're right, as long as they work together,
Mhm.
it's all good.
Yeah. We do live in a rainforest. So where the need is for it, I'm not quite sure. I do understand that the climate action, heat dome, all the things are included in the information here, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. It's just, I don't know, it seems like such a weird thing for us to do when there's so many other urban spots to, do that with, but. Yeah, so I mean, there is a recommendation, however you'd like to. I think if you can just get back to us with that answer, that would be great.
So wait on a recommendation?
Right, how timely is this? When's the due date?
April, end of April, I believe is the due date.
Is that,
April 15th.
should we defer it then till February if we want that answer?
That's up to councils.
I wonder if that's right.
Yeah.
It's
How
an answer to
busy
your question.
is Leo? Do we do it right away or?
Maybe that's what we'll do then. Maybe we'll defer it to February and see if, or if, our emergency preparedness coordinator, Sean Koopman, can, just give a couple, a little bit of needs and how it works with the other grants that have already been done and why it's a priority for such a rural area and not an urban area. Yeah, those would be kind of good questions, yeah?
Yeah.
That we're willing to pass it, we just need some more information. Yeah, depending how that conversation goes. Perfect. Okay. Motion, yes, that's what that is, so I will make that.
Second that.
Second, okay. And just for more information, so, time and place is, next regular meeting, or if it can be done at the cow, and then we can, maybe there's an opportunity for him to come to a committee of the whole, right, and then we could, so, at the nearest meeting date that's available. Yeah.
Okay,
All in favor?
Good.
oh, who's that? Sorry,
Councilor Beck?
thank you.
That's carried. Volunteer Fire Department January operations report. Questions or comments?
May I?
Sure.
As you notice, I'm getting older every year. And the hair is getting whiter, the breathing's not what it used to be. What is our policy on tires in the fire? Vehicle tires being burned.
There is a bylaw, I believe, that has something to do with. There is a firearms, fireworks and burning bylaw or something. CAO, that's through to you.
Thank you, Mayor. No, that would fall under administrative environment.
Administrative environment.
Yeah. Any uncontrolled fires, definitely our fire department would deal with, but any deleterious objects being burned would be administrative environment.
And that's province-wide.
Yes.
That's an expectation of
Yes.
everyone that, yeah, so I think that would be a rack line call.
Yes,
Yeah, so that's called the rack line.
Okay,
That's a
thank you,
pollution, that's a
thank you.
polluter.
And I'm not surprised with that either. I will pass that on to the boss in my house.
Okay,
Yes, thank you.
okay. Perfect, thank you. Anything else?
Nope, looks good to me. Good
All
report.
right, then we'll go through to Public Works Operations, questions or comments? Any questions? Yep.
One question
Rebecca?
for Public Works area. Our generator. Things looking good, promising.
Yes.
CAO?
thank you. Through to you, Councillor Deck.
Yeah.
Yes, things are looking very promising. The unit has been insured, and we're just going through the process of ordering the new one and having it replaced.
Nice work. That is important. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that. And there was a SCADA technician that was here. Do they have recommendations for other programs that we could use, or, I know that that's really, Public Works Foreman Mahala question, but, do they fully appreciate our frustration?
So the representative was from Task, which owns the proprietary to the system we have, so I doubt that he would recommend a different system. However, we do have an IT tech coming out February 5th to assess the connectivity, which is where most of the issue has been, is connectivity. And so we're going to look at perhaps doing, instead of radio communication, a more direct Wi-Fi communication.
Okay. If Public Works Foreman would like the mayor to be there at any of those meetings to express our frustration with this entire process of this system, I would be more than happy to do that.
You're only a phone call away.
Yep,
I just-
Councillor Lewis.
Curious on how it's going with the well pump.
Looking, thank you through
Through
the.
the CAO.
Yeah, through the Councillor Lewis, looking for a new pump, so that we're not having to do the project twice, which is, pulling, assessing which pump it is. The Public Works foreman is working with a well drilling company to source new equipment before we go through the process of pulling it.
Thank you.
Very good.
And then lastly, I don't know, how much Public Works sees of what kind of goes on the internet or anything like that. But I just want to highlight the work done on the estuary trail. So there's been a lot of comments on that and all amazing. For instance, the daughter-in-law of the man who built most of that trail system, Vinnie Parker, and with participation from a lot of other community entities and people that have come in and out of that process, saying that Vinnie would be so proud of that work. I just wanted to make sure that you were, letting the workers know how much of like a community pride piece that is. I think that there have been a lot of people who have commented about how well done it is, how good it looks, how, and keeping up with that maintenance is going to be so important, going forward. So thank you to that crew.
Yeah, that's right. I'm glad you brought that up because to me, that's huge. That is big difference. And Kevin did a hell of a job. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. And then we'll see a second part to that estuary kind of trail project coming at us eventually.
I will have to confirm with our public.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Okay. Anything else for that one? Okay, seeing none. Finance Department's January operations report. Questions or comments? Seeing none. Okay, then we will move on to CAO. Questions or comments to the CAO? Is there anything you wanted to add?
No.
Okay. Seeing none. Councillor Lewis.
That flip page to see what I
Yeah.
underlined. I'm just curious about the Senate placement meeting.
Sort of the CAO.
Thank you, to Councillor Lewis. It's still something in the works, just with some delays that have happened through the Christmas season and the beginning of January. We haven't been able to finalize a date.
For a possible meeting, if it could be arranged with one of the rangers that's coming into town, February the 11th. It's a Friday. I don't know if that's the meeting you were looking for. It just happens to be a ranger exercise that weekend,
Of the 11th.
11th, 12th, 13th.
So the 11th is a Wednesday.
I'll reach out.
Okay,
I'll
reach out.
yeah, sorry, I've,
Yeah.
it must be the following weekend, 12th, 13th.
It's sometime though, the Rangers are
I-
coming. You've got an exercise coming up.
I've got an
Councillor
exercise
Lewis.
that's the second weekend in February.
Good.
13th,
13, 14, Friday, Saturday.
Sunday, so 13th, 14th, 15th, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he will be here in that Friday.
Okay. Perfect. And I think that further to that, anyone you can get to respond is great. I know that sometimes there's kind of issues with, responses and things like that, but any kind of buy-in you can get is great. We'll take what we can.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Um. Anything else on that? Seeing none, we're flowing right through this. We've got a library craft night update. So the report in front of you is about library craft nights that are going really well. There's a funding component that can be added to this to support that. That would be a budget consideration for this upcoming budget. So. Sure.
Recommend that council approve allocating $100 per month, $1,200 annually in the 2026 operating budget as a grant and aid to support the Zeballos Library Craft Night, with funding provided to volunteer Deb Warren for the administration and purchase of program supplies.
Second.
Correct. Thank you for that. Questions or comments? So that.
Yeah, a question, to make this streamlined as possible, who would the crafty person, Deb, come to see at the office? You or Alana?
She's been working with Alana.
So that's all good with you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Perfect. And just, I've been over as people, I don't participate, but I go over as people roll through the door, and really well attended. It seems to be like really taking off. So yeah, thank her for putting herself out there again and doing that volunteerism that's, can be tough sometimes in a small community. So.
And that's what she likes to do, is craft. She's been doing that for 100 years. Everybody there is happy because they get out of their house for one night. So it's going great, and I'm sure it'll keep on going.
All right, so we've got revenue and back over to bylaws. Oh, I didn't call the question on that, did I? All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Revenue anticipation borrowing bylaw. This is just housekeeping. We do this every single year. And the reason we do it is to make sure that there is cash flow in the account available to us until our taxes come in. So we will do up to 8. We will do first, second, and third.
Recommend that revenue anticipation borrowing bylaw number 565-2026 be given first, second, and third reading.
I second that.
Questions, comments, anything like that? All in favor? Any opposed? That's none, so that's carried. And our last item on our regular meeting agenda is for resignation of Councillor Brian Copeland. The CAO has provided you a report. The timing of this is good because it leaves us with an opportunity to either run a by-election or not, because of when his resignation came in. So CAO, did you have anything to add to this?
I don't.
So there's a cost allocation on this of what, $3,000-ish to run a by-election for the CAO?
Yeah, 1,500 to 3,000, depending on how many candidates run. Yeah, it was a little less expensive during the last by-election because we had acclamation.
Yeah.
But if there's more than one, then that increases.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So it's kind of in our hands what we want to do. If we want to declare a by-election not be held, or that we declare a by-election will be held, considering this is an election year. So, questions or comments, or resolution recommended?
Can I move that we not hold
The recommendation is there. Yeah.
to fill the seat, seeing that it is a year of elections coming up?
So that pursuant to section 54, we do not hold a.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a second?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is really weird for me, but I'm not gonna be in favor of this. I think we should. I think that there's three of us here tonight. One of our counselors is gone. If one of us was sick, we wouldn't have a meeting. And I don't want to carry that on for the rest of this year until November. I think we should see who's kind of out there and who wants to be on council and maybe have a little bit of their feet wet before the next election so that they could run again, get some experience under them. That's just my ruthers. So I will be voting in favor of it, but
Yeah, makes
it's the
sense,
will of council, so.
makes sense.
I know it, but it's 50-50, isn't it? It's like, do we vote or do we not?
Yeah. I nominate you to ask people if they're gonna run or not.
Oh, I'll be doing that
And
anyway,
then we can
sir.
decide, So I withdraw my motion for now and. we'll-
Okay.
We'll see if Barb and I like your prospectus.
Oh, goodness, that is not democracy at work, sir.
No,
At all.
no, no.
So
definitely not.
I can be not in favor of a motion that everyone else is in favor of. That's okay. And I'm not trying to sway anyone's opinion. I was just
Yeah.
telling you that I'm not gonna be in favor of the motion.
I'm just teasing.
Okay, so your motion still stands? Okay, thank you.
It makes sense for if somebody runs and then to get their feet wet a bit. So they're a little bit more prepared come October.
My only hesitancy in that is the task on staff. I mean, really, is it? And like I said, I'm kind of at a 50-50 on this, right? I know how tough that can be on staff to kind of get someone new on board and especially when they're gonna have to do it all over again. But I don't know who on this council is gonna run again, and we haven't had those conversations and it's none of my business. I'm hoping for some interest to be brought to it, right? And then, of course, if we vote not to have a by-election, then, you know, is the interest saved up until November, where that's that anticipation. So I yeah, I am like 50-50 on this, but I do think that I will be in favor of the resolution, but it's okay. Actually, could I ask the state CAO, what kind of time does that take to onboard? Is that something that you, let's put my question this way. In a perfect case scenario, where there was someone who was extremely, interested, capable, like, available, not capable, but available, to come in, have the meetings with you, kind of get their feet under them, kind of maybe what was that process? I don't want to speak for an individual counselor, but what did that look like with the last time we had a by-election? And do you foresee like what kind of time, how hard is that on you?
Thank you, Mayor. The actual election process is a little bit more difficult than the onboarding. It depends on the interest of the person that's coming in. So, we've had ones that are extremely interested and very invested and curious, and I've always got time for those ones. But we've also had ones where you're chasing, going, oh, I need to give you some information while you're going out the door. And so it really is very dependent on the individual for the
Okay. And then the time it takes away from the office. So I noticed that we have done that within the village office, kind of within village office hours for the last by-election. Is that correct?
We try to,
Yep.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. And again, the time involved is going to be very dependent on how many people are running.
Yeah.
It was an acclamation and it was very little burden on the staff. But if there is an election, then that involves ordering of the ballots and and public notifications and setting up the room, having the election time, as well as the pre-election dates.
Right.
My concern with that is you would need, if you want this to happen in a fairly short period of time, you would need to appoint a chief election officer and deputy tonight. Because then there is notification to the province, there's the nomination period, and my concern is by the time the election happened, that there would only be maybe 3 or 4 months.
Mhm. Yeah, we had a conversation about that, and that 3 or 4 months would essentially be the end of the summer when people are away and things like that. I know, I just don't want to give someone, I don't wanna. My problem with it is that I don't want to do the village a disservice by not allowing someone the opportunity to get that. Couple, a few months in it and get an idea of, whether this is a 4-year process that they want to be involved in. Sure, CAO.
The other possible concern is that if we do hold a by-election and nobody runs, because we've asked for the by-election, we have to restart the process or appoint somebody,
Yeah, for sure.
as has happened in the past.
Yeah. Yes, I do remember that, where we had to appoint someone from off the street. So, Councillor Jack.
I definitely can see your point.
Yep.
But looking at it from a different angle, how many meetings have we had to cancel because we didn't have quorum? And I don't recall there's been very many of them. And since I stumbled into this job, well, just before me, a couple people quit. And then after me, 2 more people quit. And we still seem to have been able to do it all. I'm thinking there will be someone out there that's gonna jump at the chance to run. Someone like Lorna Wolf, she has lots of experience and I wouldn't be surprised to see her throw her hat in the ring. But there will be other people that will run. Let's make it as easy on ourselves as we can until October comes around.
Valid. Okay. Good debate, amazing. Any other questions or comments?
I'm good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I'll be opposed, but just for those reasons, and I absolutely understand, like I said, I'm 50-50 on it now, so.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks all, so that is carried. We have 2 more items on our agenda actually this evening. So one is that we go in camera, we've got some in-camera business. So the recommendation is that they go in camera under 91J, information prohibited. Under the freedom of information, a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21. And 91K negotiations respecting proposed provision of municipal services that are in preliminary stages could harm interest. So I make that motion.
Second that.
Questions, comments? All in favor? Opposed? So that is carried. We now have a public question period. So we do have someone in the gallery. Any questions or comments, please make sure, raise your hand, we'll acknowledge you. You can tell us who you are and where you live.
Morning, Wilson, I live just next door. I have a question, first comment, I think Kevin's doing a fine job on the trail and all that, but I think there should be a little bit of signage up there in regard to it having been the Darville sawmill at one time. But it's.
Thank you for that. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
So I just say to Mr. Deck, I've got to do it on my head, it's not coming off or being thrown in anywhere.
Thank you for coming and attending. We appreciate the gallery being here.
Always, Laura.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, have the best
All right.
evening.
Thank you.
Let's rise a report on Shanaz Sharifi being appointed. So we'll this is just a release of it, so I'll make that motion to rise a report. Oh, it's just in here okay, perfect. For speaking on.
Yes.
Let's do, I would take,
Motion to adjourn.
yeah,
Lock the door.
yeah, all in favor? That's carried.